Volkswagen is caught in a price war in China, slashing prices in a desperate bid to hold on to its market position. Because competition has become fierce in the country.
China just revealed a plan that could seriously impact the car market in Europe. Here's the deal. Chinese cars and parts are pouring into Germany, shooting up by a massive 75% in the first half of the year. But there's a catch. The trade going the other way, from Germany to China, is taking a hit, putting pressure on Europe's big car industry. This change is happening because Chinese car brands are now selling more in Germany, making up 1.5% of all cars sold. And also this, German car exports to China fell by 21%, showing a challenge for Germany's car business. Could this mean Germany is stepping back from its close ties with China? Next Generation Economics brings you the latest economic, financial, and global news from different parts of the world. If you are new here on our channel and you enjoy learning about different topics on a global level, you will find our videos intriguing. In this video, we'll talk about how China is getting more involved in the European car market. Watch the video till the end and see the reasons behind China's bold plan to conquer the European car market. Let's get started. More Chinese vehicles and parts are being brought into Germany, increasing by 75% in the first 6 months of the year. However, the trade going the other way, from Germany to China, has decreased, putting pressure on Germany, which is Europe's largest auto production center. This shift is partly due to the entry of several Chinese car brands in the German market. Even though these Chinese brands now make up 1.5% of the vehicles sold in Germany, the overall increase is also influenced by cars made in China by non-Chinese brands, like the all-electric iX3 from Germany's BMW. This news comes shortly after the European Commission started looking into whether to impose tariffs to protect EU producers from cheaper Chinese electric vehicle imports, which are said to benefit from state subsidies. The data also reflects a significant 21% decline in the sale of German cars and parts to China during the initial 6 months of this year, constituting 3/4 of the substantial 8% drop in overall exports to China. This decline points to the challenges faced by Germany's traditional method of exporting high-quality vehicles globally, as noted by the study's authors Jürgen Mathis and Thomas Puls. German automakers recognizing this shift have been relocating more production to China, even in the premium class, which previously resisted this trend. Globally, the automotive industry is increasingly centered in Asia, where almost 60% of cars were produced last year, up from around 31% in 2000. With only Germany and Spain representing Europe among the top 10 auto producers worldwide. The study credits German automakers' early entry into the Chinese market in the 1980s for their relative resilience in the face of industry changes. Is de-risking underway? Germany, previously seen as a potential weak link in Western attempts to reduce ties with China due to its strong business connections, has recently taken steps to decrease dependency, termed de-risking by policymakers. The IW study, titled Is De-Risking Beginning?, presents initial indicators of Germany reducing reliance on China. In the first half of the year, German imports from China decreased by 17%, suggesting a shift. About 70% of product groups typically dominated by Chinese imports witnessed a decline in China's market share, with nearly 16% experiencing a drop of more than 20 percentage points. While specific product details remain undisclosed, the study highlights the chemical sector, contributing 14 percentage points to the overall import decline. Chinese car companies are making a big splash worldwide, especially in electric cars. About 50 Chinese electric car companies, including big ones like BYD and new players like XPeng, displayed their cars at the IAA Mobility Auto Show in Munich, Germany. It's double the number from the last show, making it the biggest ever presence of Chinese companies at a global car expo. Even before the official start, Renault CEO Luca de Meo praised Chinese electric vehicle makers, calling them a generation ahead and urging others to catch up. Chinese electric cars, known for being affordable, are becoming popular in Europe, Australia, and Southeast Asia, making other companies worried that Chinese brands might take over the global electric car market. In the first 8 months of the year, China sent out 2.3 million cars to other countries, a 72% increase, with a quarter being electric cars. August alone saw BYD, a leading Chinese electric vehicle maker, sending over 25,000 cars, followed by Tesla China with 19,465 units. Chinese cars are making a mark in Europe, with sales of Chinese electric cars flourishing. In the first half of the year, nearly 350,000 electric cars from Chinese companies reached 9 European countries, surpassing the total for 2022. Over the past 5 years, the European Union has quadrupled its car imports from China. Some experts dub a few Chinese electric car makers as new global champions. Analyst Dylan Koo from ABI Research in New York notes that China's oversaturated car market and tough competition drive Chinese companies to explore international sales. Europe, with high electric car demand and fewer restrictions, proves an attractive market, especially with the EU's plan to halt new cars with traditional engines by 2035. Most Chinese car makers are looking to focus on big European markets like Germany and France in the next 3 to 5 years, as mentioned in a report by Deloitte from last year. The report also reveals that 75% of the surveyed companies plan to enter the North American market, and 88% intend to mainly export electric vehicles, or EVs. BYD, the largest Chinese EV manufacturer, aims to double its number of dealer partners in Europe to 200 this year. The company plans to increase its overall overseas sales to 250,000 vehicles in 2023, up from 55,916 in 2022. Xiaopeng, another Chinese car maker, introduced new models at the show and shared its plan to enter the German market in 2024. It also intends to expand its sales and service centers in Europe by the end of this year. BMW CEO Oliver Zipse mentioned on Sunday that due to the upcoming EU ban on traditional vehicles and increased competition from Chinese automakers, European car makers might stop producing mass-market cars after the ban, due to concerns about profitability. Electric vehicles, which will be the only choice for European manufacturers starting in 2035, are often more expensive to make compared to traditional gasoline or diesel cars. According to Koo from ABI Research, the Chinese disruptors are offering European customers competitively priced EVs with high quality across different price ranges. He mentioned that the European car industry will face disruptions from two sides: Chinese brands entering Europe and Western car makers setting up production in China for exporting to Europe. Chinese cars are also becoming more popular in other parts of the world. In the first half of 2023, sales of Chinese cars in Australia, including EVs, nearly doubled compared to the previous year, making up more than 16% of the market. Chinese electric vehicles have a strong advantage when it comes to cost. Electric cars sold in China are about 40% less expensive than those sold in Europe and 50% cheaper than in the US, as shared by research firm Jaito Dynamics. In the first half of 2022, the average price of an EV in China was 31,829 euros, or $34,096, while it was 55,821 euros, or $59,797 in Europe, and 63,864 euros, or $68,429 in the United States, according to the firm's report from last year. MG, formerly a British car maker and now owned by China's SAIC, achieved record-breaking sales in the UK during the first quarter of this year, becoming the second best-selling electric vehicle in the country. In contrast to Europe and the US, where affordability remains a challenge, China demonstrates significant EV demand supported by government incentives and rapid technological advancements. Jaito Dynamics researchers note China's success in making EVs accessible to a broader population. Meanwhile, in mature car markets like Europe and the US, limited government support hampers the pace of electric vehicle production, hindering affordability for many potential buyers. Chinese electric vehicles cost less due to China dominating the EV battery supply chain, with a 60% market share in 2022, controlling materials like nickel, cobalt, and lithium. Moody's analysts attribute China's cost advantage to its strong position in lithium-ion battery production and lower labor costs, with expectations to supply over half the world's lithium. Despite this, geopolitical tensions may challenge Chinese EV companies globally, as the US and Europe, wary of ties with China, could pose obstacles even with lower production costs, potentially slowing China's ambitions in the global car export competition. Chinese electric vehicles cost less due to China dominating the EV battery supply chain, with a 60% market share in 2022, controlling materials like nickel, cobalt, and lithium. Moody's analysts attribute China's cost advantage to its strong position in lithium-ion battery production and lower labor costs, with expectations to supply over half the world's lithium. Geopolitical tensions may challenge Chinese EV companies globally, as the US and Europe, wary of ties with China, could make obstacles even with lower production costs, potentially slowing China's ambitions in the global car export competition. Join the conversation and share your insights. We want to hear your perspective on today's episode. Your thoughts matter, so please drop them in the comments below.